Hi, it's Tansel here, and today I'm going to talk about how to manage stress using memory techniques. Now, when we think of stress, we think of moments and experiences that have us sweating, that have us anxious, that generally give us a negative experience. When we think of stress, we're actually creating a story in our head. And as you know, if you've watched a few of my videos, you know that memory works best with storytelling, creating images and associations. And the deeper you go at creating these stories and building the narrative, the more memorable it becomes and the more part of the experience you are. That's what stress is. Stress is already something that's happened to you that's become memorable. If you know memory techniques and you know how to make things memorable, you also know how to do the opposite as well. That's what I want to go through today is how can you reverse, or not totally reverse stress, but how can you minimize it and then create another story that you can maximize and make better, which is a positive one. When we think of a negative situation, right, this is let's say a negative situation. Now, depending on the situation, this could be something small, it could be massive. Let's say that you're stressed at work. Now, what we can do is that is the stress from work story, right? And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, possibly with further emails, possibly with further tasks, possibly with difficult relationships at work. So this stress level gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And as it gets bigger, your story gets bigger. You start to ask more questions. You start to think of the experiences of maybe what might happen. So you develop anxiety for the future. I don't want to go into work today. I have to finish these tasks and I haven't got much time. I haven't got enough skills. I don't like my manager. Yeah, and so on. So, the story gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you've got a lot of feeling around those stories too. It's not just images in your head, they're feelings. And as soon as you have feelings, it takes you into a deeper state as well of worry and anxiety. And as we're talking about stress. So how can we reduce this? We have to be able to do two things. The first thing is we need to reduce this stress by using memory techniques. Now, how do we do that? What we need to be able to do is here's a scenario at work that stresses you out and you constantly keep thinking about it. The trick is you need to be able to visualize this all in gray. Right? Now, why gray? If you visualize anything in gray, what's going to happen is it becomes almost irrelevant after a while. Right? So you're getting rid of all the colors and triggers that create the experience. You're creating just one color for overall. So that situation at work now is in gray. Then what you have to do is you have to visualize that picture in gray getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, just like this little circle, right, in my hand. And you keep focusing on that circle. What that does is over a period of time, someone says, oh, how's work going? Or you're thinking of a particular work situation. You're going to think of this very grey, boring circle or whatever you want to put that. Now, is that fully going to help you? Well, it does lessen the stress to a degree. And that's what we're trying to do here. So that story now becomes a lot more smaller, right? And we're trying to make the story less memorable in our head. Now, while this is happening, right, that's our goal, very minimal stress. While that's happening, another thing you can do parallel to that is create a better story, right? So, on the topic of work, let's say, what are you excited about at work? You start thinking of that. So, what are your skills? What are your passions? So you start thinking about, oh yeah, I'm having this much impact. I am helping people in this area. I really enjoy going to work because it's close. Even something simple as that, you can really max it out in your brain because you're introducing reward for positive thinking, right? So as you start to build this up, your goal to make this one as big as that, easily said than done, because this is something you're constantly worrying about. And this is massive at the moment. In order to really reduce this, even though it's reducing from the visual that you've got, in order to really reduce this, you have to make this the best possible story you can. And what does that involve? That involves your emotions? How amazing do you feel accomplishing a task? How awesome do you feel having positive relationships around you? Remember, how things are now is not how things might be in the future. You create your future by visualizing a better one. That's what dreams are. People have goals and dreams. What do you think they are? It's not real, but it's something that's aspired to, and the more you work towards it, the more you get there. So it's the same thing here. These are your goals and dreams and aspirations and passions, and I can keep going. Do you see what I mean? So the bigger you make this, right, that has to go up, the less you make the negative story, then you can start to manage your stress. And you can start to think a little bit more positively, and you can start to feel a little bit more positive. And what does that do to you? If you're feeling more positive at work, even though there's all this underlying stress, it's going to make you not just a better person, but you're going to start to manage your time better, and you're going to start to be more tolerable around people. But maybe your stress is causing others to, be uncomfortable around you. How do you know? So that's what we need to focus on. That's a really cool trick. I hope you get this and start practicing. As you know, by training your memory, you get better at making stories. So, to make this even better, training your memory is so needed and so powerful. So if you want to watch more of those videos, check out my channel, because I've got a lot of videos on memory training and how could you effectively memorize a lot better. I'll put them in the links down below and also at the end of this video as well, so you can click on them. So if you have any questions about how to manage stress, anxiety, using the memory techniques, feel free to comment down below. I answer every question that's in the comments. And also you can email me through my website as well, tansalali.com. So thank you very much for your time. Hopefully that's helped, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.